Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests from the All the Smoke podcast.
That's
We
right.
on to Steven Jackson. Welcome, fellas.
Thanks for having us. How y'all doing?
Ooh, well, congratulations, first of all, on the huge success of All the Smoke. It's been amazing. So I know it's something that you guys enjoy too. And I think it's always great when you can keep on doing things that you love doing, right?
You know, it's been a smooth, fun transition for us. Neither of us really knew what the podcast space was about. We were both respectively working at ESPN and Fox at the time, but we knew that we wanted to get to a place where we could really freely speak and be us. Showtime took a chance on us a little less than a year ago, and you know now we're here starting season 2, and it's been a tremendous blessing.
How did that transition happen exactly? How did y'all go from basketball analyst and then being like your own podcast? Like, how did that happen exactly?
Well, with me personally, I started doing ESPN when Rachel Nichols' show The Jump started. Mm-hmm. She brought me in at one of her first hosts. And I was doing Fox and ESPN, and Matt was too. And the normal sitting around smoking, talking about things that we could do after basketball, and we both were doing TV, so like, maybe we need to come up with our own show. That was the end of the conversation. Everything else, Matt put together. Matt made the contacts, and he brought all this together. But it was an idea we came up with, just sitting around chopping it up.
Yeah, I just didn't want to do basketball. So y'all do everything. Y'all do topics, y'all do basketball, y'all do politics, y'all do music.
Yeah.
You know, we just don't want to be in this one lane.
Right. I think that, you know, the narrative of sticking to, you know, shut up and dribble and stick to your sport, you know, that's gone by the wayside. We've always been, you know, citizens of this society, you know what I mean? So we're fathers, we're business owners, you know, we hold charities, we give back, and we can also talk about sports. So I think that, you know, Jack and I have been able to be the few athletes that have really been able to step outside of that sports box and also have solid footing in social justice. You know, both of us are doing, and then, you know, we're both fathers. So we just have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things. And, you know, we just try to give back and help in those areas.
How's the marijuana business during this pandemic?
What's that?
How's the marijuana business during this pandemic?
Essentially good. You know, shout out Viola and shout out my company, Seven Leaf. You know, everything has been good, you know, during this pandemic. And you know, I was telling someone the other day, you know, although it's been unfortunate circumstances, this is the first time since I was 18 and I just turned 40 in March that I've really been able to like sit down and enjoy my house and really spend more time with my kids. I've been able to, you know, although we're traveling now, you know, for the whole first, you know, 4 months of the pandemic, I was at home and doing ESPN from home. We were doing our show from home. You know, I was able to be with my kids every single day. So, you know, although it was through tragedy for the first time in nearly 22 years, I've just been able to kind of just enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Hey, Steven, you know, you've been on the front lines all year, you know, riding for the good brother George Floyd. You know, was it hard to get back to doing just regular things like All the Smoke?
Nah, because, you know, I came on All the Smoke with the same attitude of what I've been doing. I can't let that go. I promised my brother that. So it wasn't hard. So, I mean, I actually was anxious to get back because that's our platform. That's how we control our own narrative. That's how we keep the attention on what's going on. You know, just like everybody else, the basketball, they're trying to do it that way. We're going to do it our way. We're going to do it right on our show. And that I was excited to get back. I wasn't hesitant at all. I was ready.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about Steve Nash being the head coach for the Nets? Because, you know, I got to ask about my Brooklyn Nets.
It's good. I'm all for it. I mean, obviously, a lot of people had a lot of right things to say about black coaches don't get those good jobs off the rip, which is true. But if a white guy had to get a job, it would be Steve Nash, 2-time MVP. Everybody in the NBA loves him. He's low-key one of us, you know, and
for real.
I'm all for it. I can't go against Steve Nash. If it was any other white guy, I probably would put up.
This dude is crazy.
You know what I'm
saying? Now, what do you mean when you say low-key one of us now? What? Because that sounded to me like he got some Negro tendencies. What tendencies does he have of ours?
Hey, he got some black in him for sure, and he's one of those guys that ain't willing to speak up before we even speak up on our behalf. That's how he's always. When I was drafted in '97, he was my vet. They had already cut me from the team, Charlamagne. But one thing about him, he kept me up under his wing. He made sure I was straight. He made sure I didn't have to spend my money. You know what I mean? So you don't get that from white guys too much, especially with black people.
No, he's a great dude. I got a chance to play with him and get to know him well. And it's just really about in this game. I mean, like Jack said, although, black coaches aren't afforded the opportunity to step into a situation with two superstars with a playoff team. But Steve Nash is although he doesn't have any coaching resume, he's someone that was with that Golden State team, as a special coach and developed a relationship with KD. He's tight with the GM, so it's really about who and his vast knowledge of the game is definitely going to help that young team, get to where they're trying to go.
Hey, but at least is a basketball player. At least this ain't a guy that they found in the film room that they want to do a favor and give him a coaching job. At least is a basketball player, so I appreciate that.
What do you guys think about the Clippers and the Clippers moving so fast? Like, that's surprising.
That hurt my soul, man. I've been a part of that Clipper curse, man.
Me, brother.
And,
you owe me.
Yeah, whatever. It's unfortunate, man. We've had Lob City teams in 2013 to 16 that we really felt should have made that jump to a championship, and we hit that second round roadblock. We had the same similar situation. We was up 3-1 against Houston. Looking at Golden State already, they sit James Harden down in the third quarter, and these motherfuckers come back and beat the brakes off us and then beat us 4 straight games. So I don't know what's going on. They might need to change that team name, get to a new arena, which Ballmer is building, and just start all over. They need a completely fresh start, man, because that Clipper thing is just tarnished.
Are they cursed? You think the Clippers are cursed, man? I think so. Played for them.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I think that the living ghost of Donald Sterling just haunts the team. You know what I mean? It's just been in the toilet ever since he touched it. Fortunately, the NBA got him up out of there and got a great owner in Steve Ballmer, but they still have the same name, same energy, same narrative. So I think they need to change the team name. I know they're building a new arena in Inglewood and just get a fresh start with that new arena. Like, let the Clippers burn, get a new name.
I don't wish death on nobody. I think that much like my Cowboys, I think the owners, Donald Sterling has to pass away in order for the basketball gods to bless the Clippers, because they don't even want him to be able to witness a Clippers championship.
Right. Yeah. So we all waiting on that.
Now, Steven, you said you felt like the NBA was going to be a distraction. Do you still feel that way?
I honestly feel like they would accomplish more without playing. Matt was right. They did keep the attention on this the situation, the task at hand with everything going on. But like I said, we're not gonna see anything different from a Black Lives Matter on the court or I Can't Breathe T-shirt, and that's what we saw. And I told them before it started, it was gonna be a situation that happens that's gonna make y'all want to stop playing. So why go? And I was right. Mm-hmm. But what bothered me was when they had that power, they gave it right back. They gave it right back by going back and play. So from what I said to now, I understood what Matt said because I did see them keeping attention on what the task at hand. But also when they had the power and they gave it back by playing, it was all for nothing there for me.
Yeah, I don't think they had a plan. I think it was an emotional response to what happened in Kenosha, which was right. But I don't think they had a plan moving forward. They didn't know what to do next.
I don't think, and to be honest with you, Charlamagne, I don't think anyone has a plan. You know what I mean? And I think as a community, as a culture, and not just the Black community, we all need to have a plan because the first time in 400 years they're listening. So for me looking at it, I don't think it's just the NBA's job to have a plan and everyone think that NBA is going to eradicate racism and make cops stop hating us and killing us. That shit's not going to happen. That's going to take all of us. But what I will say, and like Jack touched on, I just thought the bubble would be good because we're always going to be able to hear from LeBron. He's got a tremendous platform, a tremendous outreach. But then would you have heard from, Doc Rivers' emotional plea? Would you have heard Fred VanVleet's plea? Would you have heard George Hill's plea? I just think the message traveled farther when they had that NBA logo behind them. And although so far it's been just, names on the court and names on the back of the jersey, I've talked to Chris Paul and I know that they're really trying to make some real change in these cities, but it's going to take some time. And what I try to tell people is everything we're fighting for now, whether it's the NBA, whether it's us as a community, we're not really going to reap the benefits. We're not really necessarily going to see the change. It's going to be a process, but I think everything we're fighting for now, our kids are going to see and their kids are going to see. So that's why we got to continue, to keep 10 toes down, but it's going to take more than the NBA. It's going to take all of us to come up with and devise a plan and have a strategy and strategically execute it because, we can't do it with these no more. We got to do it with this.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all think
wanting to come back to work, right, to have your platform too? it might be the same thing for the NBA players to feel like, okay, let's go back to work because this is the biggest platform that we have.
Stage. It's a huge stage. You know, Angela, like you said, we have superstars in our league that we would have definitely heard from. But then after superstars, you know, your voice kind of gets a little bit muffled out. So with that NBA logo behind you, anyone can say anything that's in that league, and it's going to, you know, traject as far as it could possibly go.
Hey, and Angela, they also know too, all the guys that would have walked out and just bucked the system, they didn't kick them out the league already, so they know what's going on.
Do you think does the NBA want players to be outspoken? Do they want Matt Barnes? Do they want Steven Jacksons in the NBA?
No. They want Steven Jackson's voice. They don't want his passion.
Okay.
They want him to say the right things that fits the narrative so it won't mess up the game. But if I went and I was the only one that said, I'm not playing, I'm walking out, they wouldn't want that. Because they feel like I'm standing alone. But at the same time, if they can control how you respond, if they can kind of like minimize it and not let it get out of control, they all for it. But as soon as it get out of control, they're going to go against it. That's just how it works.
What do you think about changing the name of ownership to like governors? I guess they're trying to do that so it doesn't sound like these are owners of the team.
I think sometimes we reaching too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's their money. They own the team. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. So I think.
Call you.
What's that?
You ain't finna come to my business and call me any type of name, and I own the business.
Right.
I call Al, me and Al part. Well, Al's the owner of Baller, but I have a percentage in it. I call him boss. I'm happy to call my brother's boss. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be down to call a white man boss.
But what I would like to see, like I said, I don't need that. They are the owners, but I would like to, you know, see the opportunity for more minorities to get not only into basketball but all sports, because there are groups that have money for proper funding, but it's a good old boy system. You know what I mean? So football, basketball, it's that oil money, that old real estate money, and it's a tight-knit group, you know. So once these people die off, hopefully they don't hand it to their kids. They allow other people, you know, hopefully some minorities to come up in this game and give us a real opportunity to have some ownership, because we have people that are willing and ready.
What are your thoughts on the bubble? I meant to ask, what are your thoughts on the bubble? You think you guys could play with no fans and no crowd and just like it's a
pussy
in the park?
But to me,
hey, with Charlotte, go ahead, Jack. You can finish, but with Charlamagne was the most important thing. But carry on. I'll get to that later.
Me personally, Charlamagne, I've always played the game growing up, whether it was nobody at the games or not. I played for the love of the game. You know, a lot of guys, you got guys now, they more famous for other things than actually playing basketball. We cared about the game. I know how hard it took me to get to the NBA and the road I took. So I would love to play in front of fans, because you're still in the NBA, you're still getting paid, and it's just like an AAU tournament, and that's why any team can win. There's no home court advantage. Everybody in there, can't nobody go out and hang out and be tired than the next guy, which they shouldn't be. But that's why you see the Nuggets winning and stuff like that, different teams winning, because they're all in one place like an AAU tournament, and everybody's preparing the same way. Nobody has the edge.
Yeah, I didn't think, you know, playing without fans was going to work, you know, because even though that's how we started, you know, once you get to the NBA, the fans bring so much energy to the game. But I think hats off to the NBA providing a safe, you know, situation where these guys could go out there and play, and they've done the simulated crowd noise, and they've got fans on the computer. So I think under the circumstances, they've done a tremendous job. But I also think, like Charlamagne said, you know, we're creatures of habit. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, with, you know, Paul George coming out and speaking on his mental health, you know, not being able to see family, not being able to see his kids, kind of stuck, isolated in a bubble. I talked to Chris Paul, and he just said it was, you know, although it's a great situation, it's still a bubble. And considering everything going on in the world, you're really stuck in this, confined in this area. We've always been able to move freely and do what we want. You know what I mean? So to have to stay in this situation, I don't want no one feeling bad for him, but I just know personally, talking to some guys, it was tough. But, you know, me, sex for that, without having sex that long, I might be blind right now trying to beat my shit so much. So I don't really know how I would have I'm dead ass serious. Because like I said, we're really creatures of habit. You know what I mean? When I was playing, sex was part of my routine.
Do not go blind from masturbating, okay? Don't.
Hey, that's what I heard. So I don't know if it's true or not.
How important is sex when you play?
Like I said, it's part of our routine. You know, it was a part of my, I mean, I played 15 years. It was just a part of my routine. Like I said, it wasn't every single day and a bunch of, but it was definitely a part of my routine, a part of my relaxation, a part of my recovery, a part of my off day. It was just a part of what really goes on. And I know I'm not speaking just for myself. So to be able to just really take you away from that, take you away from your kids, take you away from, if you have families, take you away from the outside world, I'm sure it was just a little, you know, obviously a little bit of, you know, whatever they had to do, they had to adjust. You had to acclimate to their new surroundings.
Now, there was a player that got suspended, right? He actually, the girl that was doing the testing, she went into his hotel room. But I felt she's safe. She's safe.
She's safe.
I don't think he should have been suspended for that.
I think they overreacted on that because, like I said, she was safe. She wasn't monitoring tests. And the NBA knew what they were doing. If they didn't want a situation like that, they would have had men doing everything or women that maybe weren't as attractive doing everything. But you're putting attractive women, you know, you're putting women around, you know, it's like being locked up. And, you know, them security guards start looking good after, you know, a couple months, couple weeks, couple years. So it's just like you tempt them with anything. And it's going to be a tough play, but I agree with you, Envy. You know, she's in there, she's safe already, so he's not really risking anything except, unfortunately, you know, I heard he has a girl or he's married or some situation like that, so that was tough, but she was safe. She was safe.
Yeah, they complaining about the bubble.
They what, Steve?
They couldn't do 2 months in jail. They complaining about the bubble. That shit is lame. They got 5-star restaurants, all kind of stuff in there. How could you complain for being up for 2-3 months to play basketball and get a check? Y'all babies.
That's real.
Ain't no reason to complain about that. We have mental health and all that. Man, look, I'm sensitive to mental health. Paul George was just broke. His game was broke all playoffs. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. When you're in a bubble like that, you focus more because you have less outside distractions. So all that other stuff they're trying to make excuses for, y'all games was just off, point blank.
Do y'all think the Clippers fucked up by trading away all them first-round picks for Paul George and getting rid of what was the brother's name? Gallinaro and
Gallinaro, Shai Gilgeous.
Shai.
I
mean, go ahead, Jack.
You got to get Paul George for that trade and add him Kawhi because you never know how it's gonna work. You got he's better than Gallinaro and all of them. Yeah, he didn't play well, but if you get a chance to put Paul George and Kawhi together with the team they have, you got to do that.
Yeah, I think they definitely went all in now. So all eyes are going to be on that. They traded several first-round picks, and they traded one future star, and Shai Gilgeous is going to be a star one day. So they got a lot of pressure on them to make all this stuff work, and they completely blew it, unfortunately, last night.
Yeah, and the West Coast not getting no easier. Golden State will be tough next year. The Lakers still going to be a contender. The Jazz, the Mavericks, the Nuggets.
Denver.
Yeah.
Right. No, the West has always been a battlefield, and I have a feeling Giannis might end up coming west too. So the West ain't getting no easier.
You think Giannis West?
I mean, I just, you know, to me, it's you're never going to get he needs another player. He needs a Pippen or he needs a Jordan. He needs a real sidekick that could really put in that work. And no one in their right mind is going to go to Milwaukee. No real top free agent is going to go to Milwaukee. So it's going to have to be all trades and drafts. And you're not going to get a superstar or at least a superstar through the draft that's going to be able to produce that fast. So if he wants to win like he says he does, he's got to go somewhere else. And like you said, it's still Milwaukee. So it's a terrible market to begin with. So if he goes anywhere with the bigger market, he's going to even become a bigger star.
I saw that he unfollowed this whole team.
They said that's normal, though. They said he'd be doing that all the time. So I really don't read into the little gimmicks, whether that meant something or not. But like I said, if he wants to win, he's not going to win in Milwaukee because he's not going to get the quality type of player he needs to be his sidekick out there.
He also needs to expand his game. You know, to whom much is given, much is required. You can't be 2-time MVP and they leaving you wide open for 3-pointers in the playoffs. I'm sorry. You can't do that. It don't work like that.
Do you think it was fair when they said that Giannis may be a Pippen? Like, I didn't understand that logic because back in the day when a star player just couldn't get over the hump, he just couldn't get over the hump. You didn't reduce him to a number 2, even though I don't even look at Pippen as a number 2.
Yeah, I was about to say. To me, Pippen's not a number 2. He just happened to have an MJ who was the greatest player, but Pippen was an all-star Hall of Famer in his own right. When Jordan was gone, Pippen was doing his thing. He was in the MVP, candidate. But I just think he does need another player of his star quality, his ability. But like Jack said, the playoffs exposes holes. You know what I mean? So Giannis can do all he wants to do during the regular season because you don't have that much time to prepare for him. But when you're in a 7-game series and you're just focused on one team and you can continue to make adjustments game after game and build a wall around him and highlight his weaknesses, you know, that's something that can't continue to happen from someone we're continuing to hand the MVP to. You know what I mean? Because if that shit happened to LeBron, we'd be on his head. You know what I mean? So, you know, LeBron has been able to continue to get his team, no matter where he's at, he always gets his team to the finals. And to me, that's the sign of an MVP. He may not win them all, but he's at least there giving the absolute best opportunity to win. And Giannis has yet to do that. That's why I don't really believe in the Bucks. And to me, it's the MVP is always up to question because for 2 straight years now, he's been exposed.
I wanted to be a Pippen, Charlamagne. I grew up, I idolized Pippen and Grant Hill. So when people say a Pippen, that's an all-star. That's one of the top 50 greatest players. That's somebody who's 6-feet. That's somebody who made sure Jordan was who he was. So I grew up to be a Pippen. And when people like that, Richard Jefferson say that, come on, this is Richard Jefferson saying that. You wasn't that good. I used to kill you. You know what I mean? So people don't even take that serious when he say that. You know what I'm saying? We know who Pippen was. And like I said, I idolized Pippen. So I took that personal because he's one of the greats to me.
Yeah, like Matt said, he's only a number 2 because he played with the greatest basketball player of all time. But he wasn't a number 2. He was a 1A.
He was a 1.
Yeah.
And RJ was a number 8, 13 sometimes.
It's crazy.
Jeremy Lin said he had to make a really hard decision, right, and leave the Chinese Basketball Association and try to get picked up by an NBA team again. You think that's going to work out for him? If you were him, would you have made that decision?
Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
I like Jeremy Lin. I think he had his run. You know, the time when he came, he had took over the world, and he played well. But his game shocked the world. It wasn't a game that could last through the NBA. Now I'm cool with him. I was a fan of him when he was here, but I think where he at now, he gonna get more of his career at the age he's at. He'll get more of his career where he at.
How has this podcast built your friendship?
Man, we've always been cool. You know, I lost my mom.
He said he hates you.
You hate him, Matt, Steve?
Don't let him lie to you. No, we, our friendship started, we knew each other and played against each other for, a couple years, but then he came to Golden State in 2007. And we had that We Believe run where we, made NBA history, shock the world. But in the process, I lost my mom to cancer. And Jack was the one person every single day that was pulling up on me, smoking with me, bringing me food, asking me if I was good. Our moms made an instant connection and instant friendship. So, we went from teammates to friends to brothers during that process. So that's why it feels great to be able to get money with this dude off the court, because we was getting money together on the court. And now we're getting money off the court, and so many new doors are opening through this podcast. So it's been a real blessing.
Did y'all ever fight each other? Did y'all ever get into such a big argument where y'all just said, let's move this furniture and throw each other around?
I think it would be dope. We haven't, but I think we both smoke too much to really want to get that mad at each other. But I think it would be a good fight.
Who do you think will win?
Hey, Charlamagne, I don't even get that mad anymore. I got my teeth done, so I ain't trying to go back.
You got them
good, Charlamagne. I ain't going back and forth with nobody.
That's
Do
real.
y'all talk about woman problems with each other and things like that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's my brother. That's my brother, man.
About our lives. I got kids. I got baby mamas. I've been through the drama and all that. I want to share with the youngsters so they won't go through the stuff we went through. We got to talk about that. Because that's who we are. We wear emotions on the sleeve. We don't hold nothing back. We don't sugarcoat nothing. So, yes, I talk about my trials and my kids and my mess ups. You know what I'm saying? But that's important to talk about to the youth, especially today. I
think we had AI yesterday on the show, and we had discussed that. And sometimes people are like, well, why are you sharing your business? And sometimes we don't want it to get out. But then at the same time, when it does get out, we want to let everyone know we're the same as them. And if we can get through this shit, or we might be going through the same problems they're going through, or give them the courage to speak up on something, or give them the confidence to make them feel like they can get through something, that's what we're here for. We've been fortunate. We came from nothing and made it. So in any aspect, to be able to give back, whether it's just talking through problems or putting something on the table, we're going to do it.
Yeah, I always say that humans got to give other humans the grace that we want God to give us, because, man, if we don't allow people to make mistakes, Malcolm Little wouldn't have become Malcolm X. Hell, we don't allow people to make mistakes, Bubba Chuck wouldn't have become Allen Iverson.
Yo, for real. For real.
Do your kids ever ask you guys about things that they see in the media as they're reading stuff and be like, Dad, what's going on with this? Or, what happened?
Mine did. Yeah, mine did. When I got into the altercation with my former teammate, they just kind of wanted to know what's going on. Dad, we thought you guys were friends. I was like, we were until he started messing with you. I'm playing, but we have real conversations about it. I'm someone who doesn't sugarcoat things, especially because we don't know what's going on the internet today. So I try to be more proactive than reactive with. We talked about me smoking weed and what it does to my body and why I do it. We've talked about my twins are 11 going on 21, but we've talked about girls and when that's going to happen. We've talked about racism. We've talked about police brutality. So to me, I want to jump out in front of things now because I never know what their friends are going to tell them or what they're going to see on their phones when I'm not around.
You know what's so crazy about you and Steven? Even though y'all have done so many other things, your legends are linked to putting hands on somebody. Both of y'all. They remember Steven running in the crowd, because I watch that at least once every few months. And they remember you going to choke Derek Fisher.
Yeah, that's just real shit that be happening sometimes. That's what people don't understand. Like I think Jack and I both, obviously we're men before we're anything first and foremost. You know what I mean? So both of our situations, he had his teammates back. That's his brother, so he was gonna fight for him. In my situation, like motherfuckers get killed for shit that in the real world. So just because I'm a basketball player, I'm not letting that shit slide because I'm a man first. So although I don't condone and promote violence, just sometimes life puts that shit on your plate and you got to handle it.
When you go back and watch that night, Steven, in the Palace, what goes through your mind? Because you really are the person that set everything off.
Now that I look at it, we were racially profiled. So, how many people can get a bill thrown at them in a professional sport and they get fined?
They get fined, yeah, for real.
That was assault. So we was defending ourselves. Ron was on the court. I was on the court. A beer came out and assaulted Ron. And in a lot of states, that's assault. You throw a beer at somebody, assault.
Absolutely.
So we defended ourselves, and we ended up getting fined. But now I look at it like that now. But back then, I was just having my teammate back. We all knew it was a split second for Ron could do anything. Right. I walked into a robbery, but I'm a rider that don't check the mileage. You know what I'm saying? When Ron went, I didn't even think twice. And when I went in the stand, Charlamagne, I grabbed Ron. If you look at the tape, I grabbed Ron first initially. But then another guy threw another beer in his face. So I had to take the face off. I had to. He wasn't getting away with that. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the only punch I threw when he threw another beer. But the NBA never talked about that. At the time, they just wanted to implement the dress code and do anything they can stemming from that incident to help the league. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even look at how the players was treated at the time.
You threw a good ass punch though. That's why I say you the one who really set it off, because everybody
else was a clean right.
I was able to plant.
You planted.
And he had his ankles taped so he didn't slip.
Lucky they grabbed me because it was finna be a cap and delta and a stump session. I was getting stumping on his face and doing all the I had to get the stumping on him. They went to pull. He was gonna get it.
Goodness gracious.
What was NBA life like after that, though, Steven? Did they give you a hard time? Did they want you back in the league? What was it like?
It was a hard time for the rest of my career. Charlamagne, I should have been an All-Star at least 3-4 times. Mm-hmm. I didn't make it. I went to the Charlotte Bobcats and made them the #1 defense in the league and made the playoffs for the first time. I didn't get nothing. First defense, but it was all because of the brawl. And I knew that. But me being recognized as a loyal guy, somebody who ride for their teammates, and me miss all them accolades, I'd take that.
I wondered about that, though, because it seemed like even with Ron, even though he went to the Lakers, they even won a championship after that. But it's not like they put the light on him.
Mm-hmm. They didn't, because at the same time, he still was doing stuff. Remember, he elbowed James Harden. Mm-hmm. He still was a little tricky, but people don't understand Ron on the court is nothing that he won't do to win the game. Ron is one of the best people in the world off the court. You know what I'm saying? He'll do anything. He has a big heart. But on the court, being from Queensbridge, that's just how he was taught. Mm-hmm. Daddy taught him that. Y'all got to remember, somebody was shot right in front of him when his dad was teaching him how to shoot basketball. So his approach to basketball, I understand it because I appreciate the game the same way. I'm willing to fight to win too. So I understand it, but everybody didn't.
Does Showtime ever censor you guys at all when you talk about things like take anything out or feel like not at all?
No, I mean, and I think that's why we've been able to be successful at really being us. You know, if you think about it, we're two former athletes. on a prime time, digital podcast, smoking weed. You know what I mean? Talking about whatever, cussing, and just being real. And like I said, we don't go out of pocket with it too much, but we just keep it real. And like I said, me being at ESPN, which is Disney, I got to kind of walk that straight line. Jack working at Fox, he's got to walk a straight line, So podcast or Showtime was a breath of fresh air where we could literally be us and say and do us to the extent. So what you see on All the Smoke is how we be acting when we just surround each other, because that was my whole goal. I never wanted it to be a sit down interview. I wanted to be the homies at the house, smoking, drinking, and having a conversation. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we've been successful, because we've been able to humanize our guests, make them feel as comfortable as possible. And then they just start talking, because a lot of these people that we interview, you don't normally get that other side of them. You never got to see that other side of Kobe. You never got to see that other side of KD. You'll definitely not get to see the other side of AI that we're about to show in a couple of weeks. So I just think the ability and the comfortability that we afford our guests have, made our show what it is.
Y'all got the last interview with Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That goes down in the history books. Like, how does that feel when you think back on that moment? Was there any energy that you felt like,
If you see the video of us driving toward we were like two kids. Because we recorded ourselves going to the interview, and we were like two kids. Like, for me, this is somebody I idolized at 13. We in the same class, same McDonald's game, everything. So I seen this in him as a teenager. He was different then. McDonald's game, I tell this to everybody. All the top players took a solo picture with Kobe.
Wow.
Everybody else got group pictures, but we all took a solo because we knew he was different. We knew he was going to be special. And I'm just honored to say we had that last interview, and he said some things to me and Matt that he been wanting to say to us because he ain't seen us in a while, and I'm glad I was able to get that before he passed.
Wow.
Yeah, and my situation was different. Kobe came to LA in '96. I came to LA in '98 at UCLA. So, Kobe, when Kobe first started, he wasn't playing. So he was always up on the UCLA campus, walking around, working out. So I got a chance to kind of sneak back into our gym and watch him work out and be like, God damn, motherfucker's cold. So I just kind of always, he was the bar for me. I knew, like, if I'm be able to play in this league, I'm gonna have to be able to guard someone like him. So what kind of became first was a fan, and then, became competitive, going at each other, and then came to a head in 2010 in Orlando with the ball fake. And what people think after that, that was about to be a real fight. I was tired of the bullshit. I was ready to fight him. It was getting close to the playoffs, and that particular situation, turned into him calling me that summer. I was actually on my way to Miami. I was a free agent. I was going to Braun and Chris Bosh were going right up the road to Miami. So I was on the phone with Pat Riley and D Wade talking about coming to Miami. And then out the blue, I get a call from a number I don't even know. And for some reason I answer, and it was Kobe. And he just like, anyone crazy enough to fuck with me is crazy enough to play me. You want to be a Laker. And like 3 days later, I was a Laker, so through that we became teammates, then brothers, and we got the chance to know each other off the court. So he and I were very close. My kids called him Uncle Kobe. They started getting shoes from him at like 3 years old. He coached Gigi. I coached my twins in AAU. So I would see Kobe every other weekend. And the craziest part about it was he sent his newest shoe to my kids that Tuesday, because we had a tournament that Grammy weekend, and he died on that Sunday. So we got his latest shoe on Tuesday. We went up to the Bay for this tournament, and championship Sunday morning, we found out that he had died. So that shit was devastating to me and my kids.
He didn't let a lot of people in. So what do you think it was? What do you think about your relationship that he let you in?
I just think, when you get a chance to sit down and be with someone, we were teammates, so we saw each other every single day. And then we were both going through some personal life stuff at the time too. So we were, not only playing, but we were out in the LA streets. Kobe was the one that put me on, put me in these big Hollywood rooms and in these doors with people that I would have never had an opportunity to be around. So we really got a chance to know each other off the court. And Kobe was cool. I heard that he was a certain way, but you got to think, he went straight to the league. So he never really had that college experience to grow up and kind of fuck up before you're on the biggest stage, so he fucked up and grew up in front of our eyes, and that's what I respected, because he just kept trying to evolve and kept trying to. So by the time he and I became teammates in 2011, he was a completely different person from what I heard he was, and I judged him off of what I knew, and we became real cool and real close, and like I said, that'll always be my brother.
It started at the McDonald's game for me and him. I put some videos on my page from the McDonald's game back in '96. Me, Rip Hamilton was together the whole time, because him and Rip grew up together in Philly. Mm-hmm. And me and Rip was cool, but I just idolized him, and me and Rip was kind of the same players. So started our relationship as teenagers, but to both make it to the NBA and for him to see everything I've been through, you know what I mean? I think he appreciated my drive and me not giving up, but also he was proud of me because he seen where I come from too.
Wow.
Kobe smoke?
He never smoked with me. That was always my thing. Like, and he told me as soon as we win one, you know, I'm gonna smoke with you. But I seen a picture with him one time with Snoop.
Exactly.
And either he was crying or they got it in. So I never personally saw him smoke. But who's to say? I'm not sure. We have to ask Snoop if that happened.
Yeah, Snoop said he can't tell. Snoop said he'll never tell because Kobe no longer here. I did.
That's right.
Well, if you
That's what's up.
look at Kobe's eyes, you can kind of get your answer.
So new episodes are out today, and we appreciate
Hold
you.
on. And I got to thank Steven and I got to thank Matt, man, for partnering with me.
Oh, no doubt.
And iHeartRadio, you know, All the Smoke podcast. I'm glad we could get that business right and make that happen because, you know, I love the All the Smoke podcast. So we partnered with y'all.
We appreciate you, man. You was one of the first phone calls I made. You know, Charlamagne, we look up to you in this space and what you guys as a Breakfast Club have been able to do for our culture. So we definitely appreciate that. So when things started getting funny, right, when we were free agents in this space, you were the first person I called. And, you know, you let me know what you had going on and about the iHeart family. And it's crazy, you know, shit, a couple months later, you know, now we're on the same team under the same umbrella. So like I told you, you know, when I texted you the other day, we not only want to be on your space, we want to help you grow that shit. So let's strategize and try to make, you know, the Black Effect as big as we possibly can.
Yeah, I want to see the All the Smoke network. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see.
Do it. We with it.
Hey, bro, but I want to say this too, Charlamagne. You a leader. And us as black men, we got to put our pride aside. When we see our brother lead, get behind him. We know he's going the right direction. Get behind him and put your pride aside. Don't worry about following him because we all have the same goal. You know what I mean? So the fact that we can be with you to help build us and to build you, my brother, it's an honor, dog.
Absolutely.
Black kings got to empower each other, man.
No doubt.
Okay, and one last thing I wanted to ask real quick before we leave.
Queens, Angela, my bad. I love my queens too, Angela.
One last thing I wanted to ask y'all before we get out of here is if you guys were in the bubble and you had to choose between weed and sex, what would you pick?
Weed, of course.
Damn, weed. Damn. Damn, weed and a lot of lotion, I guess. That's fucked up question.
I gotta go weed because my pullout game terrible. So I gotta go weed.
You see, I got almost 20,000 in child support because I'm the worst pullout person in the history. So, yeah, but that's the only thing I'm taking in front of weed is my kids. So outside of that, everything else is secondary.
All right.
A question: when y'all was on the road, y'all would sleep with a lot of women on the road, like women in different cities, randoms.
I had my share.
Hey,
I'm in the relationship now, but I had my share. Oh yeah, hey, they retired my. Let me tell you, they retired my jersey in Magic City. You better ask about me.
Touche. We had our fun.
So y'all weren't scared even after you know the Magic Johnson and all y'all weren't scared?
No, I just used to use a whole body condom. I used to put my whole body in a condom and just go to work.
Oh my God.
Word. When y'all premiere on Showtime on the what?
Tomorrow,
17th. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
First guest, Allen Iverson.
No, so tomorrow will be the welcome back episode. So we're going to cover everything that's been going on since we stopped. We're also covering, you know, the anti-Semitic stuff that went with Jack. We want to be real and transparent and continue to show our growth and understanding and our love. So our first episode tomorrow is just going to be a welcome back, and then we got Chuck after that.
Okay. Word. And then you can catch the All the Smoke podcast on the Black Effect Podcast Network on iHeartRadio, okay? They're getting all the checks. Showtime, iHeart, Black Effect. We doing our thing. We doing our thing. Okay out here. God is good.
Run it up. Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.